Back live now to the Vatican, where the Pope remains lying in state as thousands file past the coffin. CTV's Genevieve Beauchemin is in Vatican City and joins us now. Genevieve, good morning to you. Talk to us about the long lines that you are seeing and why people say they are willing to wait hours to pay their respects to the Pope.
Yeah, Marcia, those long lineups seem endless. People are telling me they're waiting a little bit less than yesterday because it is really well organized. They say they're going through quite quickly. And it's interesting because there's as many stories as there are people there about why they're there and why they want to pay tribute. I spoke, for instance, to a father who was there with his two daughters, and like many who are in the crowd, they were there specifically to see the Pope. They were actually on a cruise that docked in Rome, and they made sure to run to the Vatican so they could get in the lineup. And he said that he was there with his two daughters, intent on showing them, on introducing them to this very historic moment, but also just to thank the Pope, to talk about the fact that, you know, this is something that has been very important in the history of Catholicism, but in the history of the world as well. And so he wanted to pass that on to his two daughters, who were, as I say, on this cruise with him. He's from Budapest. He said he had seen the Pope with his daughters, during a mass, and he took them again to this event. There's others, of course, who are here. They're in the category of the tourists who are now turned into pilgrims. They were here coincidentally. They were visiting Rome, and now they're making sure that they're taking that pilgrimage to see the Pope. It's just a few seconds. This moves very fast, but they say it is a very, very moving moment. It's so silent. Everyone describes that silence that happens when you walk through. And so such a large monument, so impressive, and at the same time, just the thought of this man who, his history, they have known, who they have, many of them have admired for so long, and to see him to pay their respects, Marcia.
Genevieve, the funeral is Saturday. Who will be representing Canada at the funeral?
The Governor General, Mary Simon, will be among those representing Canada. There's a delegation that will arrive actually tomorrow to be here. We know that politicians are in the midst of the election campaign and will not be coming. Mark Carney, Prime Minister at the moment, will not be attending the funeral. Instead, it will be that delegation. And there's a lot of preparations on the way because that's the Canadian delegation. They're leaders from around the world. We've seen progressively as the week has been going that there is more and more security at St. Peter's Square, around the area here. They're checking bags. They've got a lot of people on hand to try to keep things as safe as possible. There's a lot of preparations underway as well. There was a meeting this morning. 113 cardinals have now arrived in Rome. We know that they were being summoned from around the world to be here. There's in all 212 cardinals, 135 of them of voting age at the conclave to select the next pope. But they have been arriving progressively. There was another meeting of the cardinals this morning, the third one for those who are here. It's actually being held in this space right next to St. Peter's Basilica, where the body of the Pope is lying in state. They're meeting there to make preparations for the next steps. What will happen next? How will things proceed? Who will be saying the masses? And they're organizing the details of the funeral, but also the days after, because there are 9 days of mourning that are starting just after the funeral ends. And there will be masses. There will be more events to commemorate the life of Pope Francis in those days afterwards.
CTV's Genevieve Beauchemin in Vatican City. Thank you so much for that.